On this rooftop, Mr. Adeola stood alone, his heart heavy with grief. He was a billionaire, respected by many, yet he felt like a ghost. His family had been taken from him in a tragic accident just a few months ago, leaving him to face an empty life filled with memories that haunted him day and night. As he looked down at the bustling streets, he felt a wave of despair wash over him. The world continued to move, but for him, everything had come to a standstill. What is the point? He whispered to himself, tears streaming down his face. The thought of jumping seemed like the only way to escape his unbearable pain. He took a deep breath, preparing to take that final step, when he heard a faint sound behind him. A rustling followed by a soft voice. "Please don't do it." Startled, Mr. Adeola turned to see a small figure emerging from the shadows. It was a young girl with death-smirched cheek and wide hair. She wore tattered clothes that looked like they had seen better days. Kimy, as she would later introduce herself, had been wandering the streets, searching for a safe place to rest when she stumbled upon the rooftop. "What do you want?" he snapped, his frustration bubbling over. He wanted to be alone, not to be bothered by some street child. "I just want to help," she said, her voice trembling but firm. "You don't have to be alone. Please don't jump." Mr. Adeola looked at her, bewildered. How could this girl, who had nothing, offer him help? "You don't understand. You don't know what I have lost." His voice cracked as he struggled to contain his emotions. Kimy stood closer, her eyes wide with concern. "I may not know your pain, but I know what it feels like to be lost. I'm homeless and I have no one either. But life can change. Please, let me help you." For a moment, time stood still. Mr. Adeola's heart softened at her words. How could a child understand him? Yet, he felt a flicker of something he thought he had lost. Kimy had grown up on the streets of Lagos, where every day was a battle for survival. Her father had left when she was very young, and her mother had died from an illness, leaving her to fend for herself. With no family to rely on, she learned how to navigate the city, searching for food in trash bins and sleeping in abandoned buildings. Each morning, she would wake before dawn, the cool air biting at her skin. She would walk through the busy markets, watching others buy fresh fruits and bread. Sometimes, kind-hearted vendors would give her scraps, but most days, she went hungry. Kimy dreamed of a warm bed and a loving family, but those dreams seemed far out of reach. As she roamed the streets, she often witnessed the rich and the powerful, like Mr. Adeola, who seemed to have everything, yet remained so distant from the struggles of ordinary people. She wondered what it would be to live a life free from worry and to have people who cared for her. That day, as she wandered near the tall buildings, a sense of dread filled her heart. She could feel the weight of the world on her small shoulders, but she pushed forward, determined to find something to eat. It was during this search that she found herself at the base of the skyscraper, looking up at the glittering windows that reflected the sunlight. As she glanced around, her curiosity got the better of her. She noticed a door that seemed slightly ajar. Kimy cautiously entered the building, drawn by a mysterious pull. Ascending the stairs, she soon found herself on the rooftop, where she would unexpectedly cross paths with Mr. Adeola. Kymy's heart raced as she spotted Mr. Adeola at the edge of the rooftop. He looked lost and broken, and her instincts kicked in. I have to help him, she thought, feeling a surge of courage despite her fear. Please don't do it, she shouted again, stepping closer. Mr. Adeola turned sharply, surprised by her sudden presence. What do you want from me? He barked, feeling anger rise within him. How dare this child interrupt his final moments? I want you to choose life, Kimy replied, her voice shaking but resolute. I know it's hard, but you can find a way through this. He glared at her, trying to push her away, but she stood firm. You have a chance to change your mind. I don't want to see anyone else suffer, she said, her eyes pleading. Why do you care? He asked, bewildered. You have nothing to lose. Because I know what it feels like to be alone, she answered, tears welling in her eyes. And I don't want you to feel that way. You matter. Her words struck a chord deep within him. For a brief moment, he felt the cold edge of despair retreat. He remembered the joy of laughter, the warmth of love, and the beauty of life before the tragedy struck. What do you know about loss? He asked softly, his voice cracking. Kimy took a deep breath, her own pain surfacing. I lost my family too. They are gone, just like yours. But I keep going because I have hope. You can too. Mr. Adeola stood there, torn between despair and the flickering light of hope that Kimy ignited within him. He looked into her eyes, seeing a fire that reminded him of his late daughter, a child filled with dreams and wonder. Hope, he scoffed, feeling bitterness rise again. What is hope when you have lost everything? Kimy stepped forward, her small frame trembling slightly. Hope is the thing that keeps you going. Even when everything seems dark, you may feel like you are alone, but there are still people who care, even if you can't see them right now. He studied her, this homeless girl who had faced struggles far beyond her years. And what makes you think I can help anyone? He asked, his voice low. Because you have the power to make a difference, Kimy said, her eyes shining with conviction. You have resources, influence. You can change lives. I may be poor, but together we can do something amazing. Mr. Adeola's heart ached at the thought of using his words for good instead of wallowing in misery. The idea of helping others had seemed so far from his mind since the incident. But Kymy's words stirred something within him. Tell me more, he said, his voice a mere whisper now. What do you think I should do? Kimy beamed, her excitement palpable. We can start small. Help the children in the streets like me. We can provide food, shelter and education. There are so many people who need your help. Mr. Adeola took a step back from the ledge, feeling a warmth spread through his chest. Perhaps, just perhaps, he could find a way to honor his family memory by helping others. He thought to himself, if this girl, who is wallowing in pain and poverty, can appreciate life like this, I am sure there are so many other people who she is better than, who are also appreciative of life. I know I have an issue, but I believe that my issue is far much better than so many people that I don't even know their stories. Yet, they are happy with life. Yet, they see beauty in life. Yet, they don't want to take their life. They do not want to commit suicide. I can love life. I can appreciate life. I can find joy in my situation. I can find joy in my pain. Because being happy does not mean you don't have a problem. But most people who have problems are happy. So why can't I be happy? As they sat on the rooftop, Kimy shared her dreams of a brighter future. He spoke of her wish to go to school, to learn and grow, and to one day help other children like her. Mr. Adeola listened, captivated by her passion and resilience. "You remind me of my daughter," he admitted, his voice trembling. She had such dreams too. She wanted to be a doctor, to help the sick. "What happened to her?" Kimy asked gently, her heart aching for him. "She died in a car accident," Mr. Adeola confessed, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I couldn't protect her, and now I feel lost without her." Kimy reached out, placing her hand on his arm. "I'm so sorry. I can't imagine how much that hurts, but maybe she would want you to keep going, to help others." Mr. Adeola nodded, the weight of his grief pressing heavily upon him. For the first time since the tragedy, he felt a spark of purpose. Kimy's words resonated deep within him, igniting a flicker of hope. "Maybe you are right," he said slowly, his voice steadier now. "I've been so wrapped up in my own pain that I forgot about the world around me. I want to help. I want to honor her memory." Kimy smiled brightly, her spirit infectious. "Then let's do it together. We can make a difference." As the sun began to set, painting the sky in the hues of orange and pink, Mr. Adeola knew he had made a pivotal decision. Standing on that rooftop with Kimy, he realized that life was still worth living if he could channel his pain into something positive. "Let's start today," he said, his voice filled with determination. "I want to help you and other children like you." Kimy's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Really? You mean it?" "Absolutely," he replied, feeling the warmth of connection with her. "We will create a charity to support homeless children. We can provide food, shelter, and education for those in need." Kimy clapped her hands with joy. "This is going to be amazing. We can change lives, Mr. Adeola."